Essentially, the politicians have decided to introduce a general wiretapping that every phone call, every email, every SMS, and even every web surfing will be monitored and wiretapped by the authorities. The politicians say that this is only to monitor threats to national security, but it's still a major threat to democracy. I mean, we're talking about wiretapping the entire population, whether people are suspected of a crime or not. And democracy, at some point, does require the population in general to have a right to privacy, and that the powers that be can be inspected. Every place where the opposite has been true, that the powers have been shrouded in privacy and that citizens have been transparent without a right to privacy, have been generally unpleasant places to live, and this is the way we're heading. I mean, we in the Pirate Party were arranging demonstrations. We've been doing so for 18 months, and generally trying to push this issue. I mean, people in general don't understand what is happening because they've always had the right to privacy. They don't understand what it means to be without it.
So what, you're also heading to the European Court?
Yes, we are. This law is definitely not... we are absolutely sure that this law will not survive a trial in the European Court of Justice. It is in violation of the European Convention on Human Rights. However, before that happens, the law unfortunately has to take effect before we can present the case to the European Court of Justice.
What about...
That's several months from now.
What about the Constitutional Court in Sweden? I mean, I believe it's also... This law is not in line with the Swedish Constitution, is it?
I definitely think it's not. And the European Convention on Human Rights is actually part of the Swedish Constitution. However, we don't have a constitutional court, which means that if the politicians decide to create a law that is against the Constitution, they can effectively do so, and that is a problem.
So how have been in the past, if the law was... some groups found that the law was not in line with the Constitution? Are there any other ways in other countries, like in this country we go to the Constitutional Court, but what can you do in Sweden? Is European Court the only solution?
I think so at the moment. You could also go to the European Union Court and check if it's in violation of EU directives of privacy, which I'm fairly sure you can dig up one or two as well. So there isn't a constitutional court. There is a mechanism in Sweden where you can challenge a law which is obviously in violation of the Constitution. However, this obviousness isn't met in this case, since some politicians claim that it is in support of the Constitution. So we're definitely going to fight this law, but the most important way is to challenge the politicians who enacted it. I mean, there was just one politician who voted against it, and she got hundreds and hundreds of flower bouquets just the next day delivered to her office in Parliament. And that's the kind of message we need to send to the politicians, that if they don't retract this law, then they're not going to be re-elected.